hats off to Roy Harper. Yeah, let's take a listen, guys. When I done with all the things I believe, yeah. That is slide guitar. Won't be late. You know that I mean, second later, massage, when I'm done quitting all the things I believe, I should come on down. Check. Well, I ain't no monkey. I can't climb no tree. No brown skin mother wanna make no monkey out of me. Yeah, I ain't no monkey. Sure can't climb no tree. I've been mistreated, babe. I believe I've shaken on down. Well, I've been mistreated, babe. I believe I've shaken on down. Listen, mama, put on your morning gown. Put on your nightshirt, mama, we're gonna shake 'em all down. Yeah, must shake 'em all down. Ooh, I've just been mistreated, baby. I believe I shake 'em all down. Give my baby $20 bill. That's no picture. I'm sure my shot will. Yeah, give my baby $20 bill. Well, if that don't get that woman, I'm shot. Gonna go shoot now. All right, guys. So that was hats off to Roy Harper, the final song, off of this album, Led Zeppelin, the third. After listening to this song, I have to say the first thing that hits you is that slide guitar. It's raw, it's buzzing and drenched in distortion. Jimmy Page, isn't playing clean. He is playing haunted. I don't know if that makes sense. Yes, I mean it's got that bottleneck blues type of sound, but he filters it through his own psychedelic sensibilities. The guitar definitely feels alive, almost unstable, like it's being played through an old radio in the middle of a thunderstorm. Meanwhile, Robert Plant's vocals are intentionally distant, and run through some sort of, I don't know if it's a heavy reverb and filtering. It sounds like he's singing through a vintage mic, on the front porch, somewhere, in the deep south. But with that signature Robert Plant how peeking through. There is no bass or drums to ground this track. It's just the interplay of that ghostly guitar and Robert Plant's wailing voice, which to me gives it this non-polished, almost primitive sort of power. So based on a few facts that I pulled up, this track was recorded mostly live in the studio, and I feel like you can hear Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, feeding off, each other, improvising, almost like a jam session that, accidentally made it onto the record, and that spontaneity to me, gives it, a unique charm. Yeah, lyrically, hats off to Roy Harper. Isn't telling a single clear story. To me, it's a collage, a patchwork of old blues, lines, borrowed and reimagined, from artists, like Booker White and Oscar Woods. Based on a few facts that I pulled up. I mean, Robert Plant, took those traditional blues phrases, and injected his own wild energy into them. To me, it's not about lyrical structure here. It's about feel. Channeling the soul and the pain of classic bluesmen. But with Led Zeppelin, sort of twist. And of course, the title itself, is a tribute to Roy Harper. And based on a few facts, that I pulled up, Roy Harper, is a British, soul singer, who was a close friend, of the band. And Roy Harper, was known for his, unconventional approach to songwriting. Much like this track, which feels like a nod, to artistic freedom and not following the rules. So the song works, both as a musical experiment, and as a genuine, hat tip to someone, who embodied the same spirit of originality. I mean, within the context of Led Zeppelin the third, I mean, hats off, Roy Harper, serves as a perfect, closer. The whole album experiments with acoustic, textures, folk and blues, and this track, definitely brings it, full circle, by going all the way, back to the roots. After the sweeping beauty of, That's the Way and Tangerine, this tough, stripped down piece reminds you where, Led Zeppelin's heart really, really lies, in the blues. That's also obvious. It's like they are saying, yes, we can write hits and anthems, but this is where it all started. It's a bit chaotic, but intentionally so. Like an old bluesman, telling stories in the dark. Half sung, half moaned. Full of emotion and mystery. Yeah, I have to say that is just right off the bat. This song, hats off, to Roy Harper, isn't for everyone. And I feel like that's okay. It's not radio friendly or melodic, in the traditional sense, but if you approach it with, open eyes, you'll definitely find something raw, something soulful, and something fearless. This track definitely captures Led Zeppelin, at their most experimental, if you ask me personally. A band not afraid to pay tribute, to their heroes, whilst tearing down musical boundaries. Definitely a strange farewell, to, to Led Zeppelin the third, this album, but also a fitting one. A final blow that tips the hat to both the roots of blues, and to a friend, who inspired them to stay authentic. Guys, let me know what you think about this one. Is this song, hats off to Roy Harper, an underrated gem, or just, too far out there? Drop your thoughts down the comment section. Yes.